Some parts of the country won't have power until 10 o'clock tonight as Eskom continues with stage 2 load shedding. The power utility has also warned of stage 1 load shedding over the weekend. Yesterday on Newsnight, I spoke to an energy analyst who said South Africa should brace themselves for the worst, actually. According to Ted Blom, we should expect 16 hours of load shedding every day over the next 5 years. Well, Khulu Phasiwe is Eskom's spokesperson. He joins us now on the line. Khulu, thanks very much for talking to us this evening. Let's start here. What are you asking South Africans to do? How should they cooperate with you?
Well, our request is that where possible, people should help us by reducing the load, especially people who have swimming pools. So to switch off the swimming pool pumps, and people who are going away over the weekend to also switch off the geysers and other unnecessary or non-essential appliances, including unnecessary lighting, for example. And those who are leaving the offices now, also to remember to switch off air conditioners and things like that. All of these things are going to help us to reduce the load, and if anything, they might also help us to reduce the level of load shedding that we currently have at this stage.
Now, for how long are they going to have to do this exactly?
Well, for today, unfortunately, it's going to go on up until 10 o'clock in the evening. And we have also just issued a statement now saying that, unfortunately, we also project that there might be a possibility of us having to implement stage 1 of load shedding tomorrow and on Sunday. And unfortunately, what this means is that for as long as the backlog maintenance that we have has not been halved, we will continue to have this particular problem. I have to hasten to say for you that we have noticed some of these reports by energy analysts saying that Eskom is going to have problems for the next 5 years. What we are doing is that we have already identified 59 power generating units that need to be attended to urgently. And management did say during the course of this week that they have set aside 11 billion rand to address this unit, and that process is going to take 12 months. So in other words, the minimum would be at least between now and next year around this time, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there will be load shedding every day. There will be instances like today where the system becomes seriously vulnerable, where we are forced to implement load shedding.
So you insisting that this abnormal situation we're finding ourselves in right now is certainly not going to be the new normal?
It shouldn't be the new normal, because you remember, load shedding is a big problem, not only for Eskom because we can't sell electricity, but also for ourselves as an economy. We want to grow our economy by 5% at least in terms of the National Development Plan. So, and our economy, the growth thereof, is predicated on the availability of electricity. And the President has been going all over the world asking investors to come and invest here. So clearly it means that Eskom has to, as they say in politics, has to self-correct, do the right things to make sure that we bring ourselves back to normalcy so that we can grow the economy and Eskom for it to make money. The only way for Eskom to become sustainable is to do the maintenance and then to start generating power to make sure that it remains financially sustainable, including other things that we need to do, like collecting the debt from municipalities.
But we understand why people find it extremely difficult to believe you when you say that, and I would imagine to even cooperate with you, because I mean, only not too long ago we were told that there was excess capacity. We were told that the dark days are, over, and then look where we are now, and that is where there's a great deal of discrepancy between from what Eskom tends to promise and what actually happens afterwards. And I think that is where lies the biggest problem before we even get to the issues that Ted Blom was raising, for example, which you are disputing.
Well, it's a non-disputable fact that we shouldn't be where we are now in terms of load shedding. Eskom has been doing a lot of maintenance over the last few years, but that maintenance that was being done was not enough to deal with the backlog. You remember the history to this backlog is that around 2009, when we were having the Confederations Cup, and a year later also in 2010 when we were having the World Cup, there was a deliberate sort of instruction from the top within Eskom here for us to keep the lights on at all costs. What that meant is that some of the units which were supposed to go offline for regular maintenance, the decision was that they would delay that to make sure that we keep the lights on at all costs. And unfortunately, all of these things are coming back now to bite Eskom, and that's why we have a huge backlog. As I say, we have identified 59 of these units that urgently need to be addressed, but that process is going to take a bit of time because of the volume of backlog that we have within our midst.
But as much as someone may try to be sympathetic towards you on the back of what you're saying, Khulu, the difficulty is here is that you're talking about something that happened 8 years ago. But years down the line, we were promised something different from what we're being asked to do or to put up with right now, which then suggests that someone along the line didn't do their job. And the question is, why should we trust you this time that if we cooperate with Eskom, we will at the end of the day get things sorted?
Well, on Wednesday, when we were releasing our interim financial results, our Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Jan Odelhoza, was saying that one of the big problems that we have within Eskom is that we do maintenance, but when these units are taken back on stream to generate electricity, maybe a day or two, sometimes even on the same day, within the same hour, those same problems are creeping up again. So clearly, this goes to show that some of the work has not been done efficiently.
But who do you blame for that then? Because it's your guys who are doing that maintenance, and you know what is wrong with how they have been doing this all along. So why is the problem not getting fixed then?
Yes, by virtue of management acknowledging that there's this particular problem, clearly it means that there's an attempt to deal with it. Right now, as I speak to you, Jan is spending so much time now at power stations to make sure that these particular problems that have been identified are dealt with, so that we don't spend too much time fixing the same problems, but we need to make sure that once a unit has been taken offline and is back to operation, it should stay on until the next round of servicing.
Okay, thanks very much, Khulu Phasiwe, who is, of course, Eskom's spokesperson. But I'll say, as Ted Blom advised us, if you don't want to be inconvenienced, get out of the grid.